Hey guys, Boone down south. I've got another HECS hunting suit update for you guys video. In this video, I've got 3 different occurrences of some close encounters with some deer, 2 bucks and 1 doe, or multiple does, I guess, in one time. But basically, what their reactions were when I was spotted. And I just want to throw some things out. Yes, I am a HECS affiliate. I have a link down below, but you can use that. I get a little bit of commission off of it. But let me reiterate, I bought my own suit. They're not paying me to make these videos. They're not sponsoring these videos in any way. I wanted to try this suit out before I became an affiliate. That's why I became an affiliate. I got the suit, and I'm just kind of videoing this season's hunts with the suit to kind of see what it does, if it does anything. And so that's kind of what I'm showing you, my close encounters. I'm not showing you stuff where deer are far out and everything else, but I'm just showing these close encounters. I will tell you this, so far this year, I've not had a single deer blow at me. Not one. Not one of them have saw me and just immediately took off running. Not one. And I do get to do a good bit of hunting, and I've got some various places I get to go to, and I do have a lot of deer encounters. Not one has blown at me yet so far. So I kind of find that amazing, right? So anyway, I want to show you these 3 things, but I know in some of these previous videos, some of you have said, hey, you know, I'd believe it more if you were on the ground. Well, when you see the 3rd one, I was on the ground, and deer comes walking right up to me. In fact, I was so busted. Well, you'll find out when you watch the video. Anyway, take a look, make up your mind, see what you think. Hit that like and subscribe. Okay, there's actually 3 does that were coming up from the bottom, working up. And this one is probably about 30 yards or so right there. And right now she's looking the other way. Doesn't really notice anything. And as she gets in closer, she's gonna look right at me. Okay, I'm pretty much spotted now. She's not so sure what I am. She's just over 20 yards at this point. And she's kind of saying, what is that? She looks like, you know, she wants to start with the stomping, but really never starts the stomping, doesn't blow. She looks like she's about to stomp, but doesn't really stomp, just sets it foot back down and doesn't know what's going on. So she's gonna back out a little bit, and then she's gonna go back to just kind of milling around. The other 2 are over to the left still a little bit. You can't really see them. They're probably another 15 yards to the left. But she just meanders around in this whole area after looking at me. Now let's just take a minute to realize something. This happens all the time in the woods, right? But most of the time after this, they're just gonna wander off and not come back. Now, here's the thing. These deer just milled around out here, and she's probably about 40 yards right there, 45 yards maybe. And the other 2, you can't see them, but they're in the area right there. And basically, she's just kind of milling around, and this is right in front of where I'm facing, and that's at about 26 yards right there. She crosses the road right there, starts walking towards me, and basically, from this point forward, none of the deer look at me again. And at this point, I'm not sure which is the deer that actually saw me, but none of them look at me again. And they just come right through the air like no big deal. She goes up this one trail, comes back down it, and here's a second deer coming around. And here's one thing I want to point out. The deer that spotted me didn't blow, didn't throw her tail up, didn't go into the stomping mode, okay, and didn't just vacate the area. She didn't know what I was. And here we are, and you know, here she comes back down this trail. These are the same deer. Could have had a shot opportunity right there on that one. And now she's winding me. She's trying to wind me. I think she saw me again. So I guess this one did look again. I don't know if it's the same deer or not. Could have been the other deer but you know, she saw me. She's trying to wind me at this point. Doesn't know what's what. Doesn't seem to care. Okay, and flicks her tail and just goes on about her way. The second deer is going to come out here in just a second. I'll have a shot opportunity at this other deer that comes out. And really, where that deer's heading is the way they wanted to head anyway when they started. So they basically ended up going down the same path they wanted to go on. This one just stops and hangs out here for a minute. Would have had just a perfect shot opportunity with a bow right there, no problems. And but that's just would have had shot opportunities on these deer right here. Okay, now this was a hunt I was on up in Kentucky, and this buck is coming in, He's down below me here, and he's working his way up the hill. I'm on this saddle on this ridge, and he comes working up, and I want to say he's probably about 20 yards right there, maybe 15 yards, and he just goes working around and up. He doesn't know I'm there yet. Again, and in Kentucky, there's a rifle hunt. I've got an orange hat, orange vest on. I got some outerwear. It's cold, and then my HECS is underneath everything. And this smaller buck is coming in right under me. And I'll have to switch my camera over to the GoPro 360 because I just couldn't move the camera over. And so this deer's gonna come right down below me here. And I was just below in the spot this morning getting everything set up, and it was an incline to walk up this morning. I'm sure I must have left a little odor on the ground here. And so when this deer comes forward, I'm sure it probably smelled me, and that's what made it look up. Would be my best guess anyway, because it's just also just looks right up at me right after it's got its nose on the ground right there. I think it's about right here. You're going to see it. All of a sudden it's just say, hey, what's up? And now it spots me, doesn't know what's going on, and says, hey, I don't know that I like this. Let me back up a little bit. And so basically trots back to about the maybe like 15-yard mark there. And from this point forward, never looks at me again. So again, does this happen from time to time in the woods? Absolutely. I mean, without HECS, this absolutely can happen. It seems to be, though, that for this season, since I've been wearing HECS every time, this is the kind of reaction I'm getting every time. So far, I've not had a single deer blow at me. And I'm only talking about deer that's been up close to me, less than 30 yards that have spotted me. That's the only kind of deer that I'm kind of showing you. So I've had other deer come through. I've shot one deer that came in close, never saw me, though. That I didn't get filmed, but I don't think I had any HECS had any play in that whatsoever. But again, here's just another small buck, and you could say, hey, it was a young buck. He's young and dumb. It could be, right? But I'm just telling you, every close encounter I've had so far this year has been like this, where they spot me, they might be a little confused, they might think twice, and then they settle down and they go right back on the same path. There's about 20 yards away right now, and just take his time going right up the trail, and gonna go over. There's a tree down, so it's find a different route across it. But yeah, I mean, this is what I'm seeing. Now, I'm going to show you the next event, because a lot of you guys said I'd be more believable if you were on the ground. Well, this next thing I'm going to show you is also in Kentucky, and I was on the ground, so pay attention. All right, so for this next piece, I got to give you some backstory. So I'm in Kentucky. This is the first morning in Kentucky. I'm in a ladder stand overlooking this river bottom, mid-morning, and that uncomfortable feeling that we never like to have when we're up in a tree stand that says, you got to get down now. So that's what's happening. I had to get down, take care of business, and what you're going to see is as I'm finishing up, I'm all cleaned up now. I have just pulled the HECS bottoms up. Now, I still have the other layer still down below my knees, but I've got the HECS pulled up, and a deer comes out on me and starts walking down the trail. Now, I apologize for the footage because this wasn't expected, and the GoPro 360 was still running up in the tree stand, and it happened to be able to catch everything, but the deer's kind of small in the picture, and the distances aren't as clear as, you can't, it's hard to tell with that GoPro 360 because it's a close-up lens. So I'll walk you through what's going on here and show you, but this was on the ground, up close, and it was like, wow, okay? So just watch and see. All right, like I said, I just finished pulling the HECS bottoms up, and as I stand up, I see this deer coming right to me. It's a buck. Small buck, he's like a 5-6 point, and he's walking straight to me. And at this point, he probably closes the gap to about 10 yards or less. You can't really tell the distance because that GoPro 360 isn't made for this kind of filming, but he's probably 10 yards or less straight in front of me, and he turns to the right just a little bit. And when he does, there was about a 45-degree arc as he walks past me less than 10 yards, okay? There wasn't a bush, branch, twig, anything in the way between me and him from the feet all the way up. And here I am standing there in my HECS with my orange hat and orange vest on. He walked right by me like I wasn't even there. And it was like, wow. Now we had a super strong wind blowing in this direction. You'll see in a minute, I'm going to show you. But he walks right on by me like I wasn't even there. I mean, doesn't even stop and eyeball me or anything. There I am standing there. So I'm just standing here watching this guy. And he just kind of slowly moves around. Right now, he's probably only like 15 yards from me. And the furthest he gets is about 20 yards or so when he finally starts to slow down. There was some feed out there on the ground. And about the time he gets the feed is when he catches my wind. And until he caught my wind, he just had no knowledge I was there. Now, again, could this just be a young, dumb buck? Yeah, it could be. But, you know, again, these kind of things keep happening to me for these close encounters when I'm wearing the HECS suit. It's every time I have a close encounter, again, these things happen. But you're going to see, I'm going to show you though. He's still standing over there. I think at this point, he knows I'm there. He's looked at me. I've looked at him. We've stared at each other a little bit. And I'm in my mind, I'm going, okay, he's a small buck. He's not one I want to shoot. And if they're moving right now, I need to get back in that tree stand in case the big boy comes along. So to heck with this, I'm going to go ahead and pull out my pants and get everything, you know, all situated, my outer layers. And so as I'm, you know, working on that, he finally has enough of looking at me, and he trots off. And it's hard to tell in this video, but he kind of trots off, and you'll see the tail go up a little bit, and he runs about 20 yards or so. There he goes. And when he gets to this point right here, he kind of slows down and just starts meandering through there. But it was really finally all my movement that really got him going. But yeah, just walked right by like I wasn't even there. Pretty crazy. All right, so that last deer, when it took off, by that point it saw me, okay? It winded me, and it saw the movement that I was making. And that's finally, those three things, it's finally what did it when he ran off. So, you know, I mean, could he be a young, dumb buck? Yeah, he could be. But, you know, this entire season I've been wearing HECS on every outing. And, you know, we're mid-season right now. And so things are going to start getting a little tougher in the woods. But so far, every time I've had a close encounter, I've had events like these happen. And any one of these, you could say, yeah, that's happened to me before. That's happened to me several times over my hunting career. And they do. They happen. I don't have to have HECS for these things to happen. The difference, though, is it's been every time I have a close encounter and a deer spots me. Again, if it doesn't spot me, the HECS, you know, is doing nothing for you, right? If it's not looking at you, doesn't see you. This deer was coming straight. I mean, it was coming straight at me, and then just kind of walked like this, like I wasn't even there. But, you know, but just to reiterate, you know, HECS isn't magic, right? You still got to fool deer senses, but it's doing something at this point, I'm convinced, because I've shown you video after video of these encounters, and they happen every time I have a close encounter. And I'm just showing you the close encounters. Like I said, I shot one buck on some public land probably a month ago now, and they came by at 20 yards, but it was moving, cruising, never saw me. I called it, he went out of range. I called it, bleeding and grunting. He come back in within 20 yards and didn't know where I was, and I shot him. But, you know, he never looked at me, never saw me, so HECS didn't play a part in that, and I'm not showing that kind of stuff. I'm just showing where I feel like HECS plays a part. And, of course, when I was in Kentucky, I saw a lot of deer far out, you know, 100 yards, 200 yards, 300 yards, and, you know, HECS has no play in that, right? It's for the up-close deer that you're hunting. And I would say at this point, it definitely does something, guys. I've just had occurrence after occurrence after occurrence, and I'm only mid-season into this. But I will tell you, at this point, not one deer has blown at me, and every single deer that spotted me up close, after they've spotted me, I would have had an opportunity to take that animal every single time. And no blowing, no major stomping, and carrying on and just taking off. It hasn't happened when I'm wearing a HECS suit. So it's just interesting. So you can make up your own minds, but my mind's starting to get made up a little more as the season goes by. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hit that like and subscribe, guys.